Okay. In the last class, we have seen that what is the normal distribution, like the basic idea we have. The next topic, that is the hypothesis testing, requires the basic idea, basic concept of normal distribution, t distribution, and basic statistics, like you should good idea of the mean, standard deviation, and etc. Right. So let's start with that topic, and let me share the screen. So today we are going to discuss hypothesis testing, right? This is the introduction part. And before going into the details of the theoretical one, let us start with a simple example to know the idea of the hypothesis testing. How we do the hypothesis testing, right? So let's say Johnny is your friend, okay? And you are hanging out somewhere. By profession or by interest, he is an athlete. Athlete means he takes part in some sort of the running or like that one. And you were discussing about his running speed. During that discussion, Johnny says that his long-term average of the running speed is 45 kilometers per hour. That is a very good speed for a runner. If you know the Usain Bolt, what is the running speed maximum of the Usain Bolt? He is the fastest runner till date. Do you have any idea? Let me search. Usain Bolt fastest running speed. Yeah, let's say here you can see this is the are you able to see this slide? Sorry, this Internet Explorer.
Yes.
Usain Bolt has a
Yes.
world record in the 100-meter, and that running speed is around 44.72 kilometers per hour. Okay. Now here, your friend is saying that his long-term average running speed is 45 kilometers per hour. Okay. We are not going to, at this point, we are not going to say anything, because that is a statement made by, let's say, your friend. So what we trying to understand, this is a claim, okay? Someone is making about something. Here, Johnny is making a claim about his running, or giving a statement about his running, that his average speed in the long term, maybe 100, 200 or 1,000 runs, he done till far. Average speed is 45 kilometers per hour. So, to confirm or reject this claim, okay, we have to conduct some experiment or some sample. Look at the some sample. So what we do, as a friend, we are going to observe his 3 next running, in which he is going to run. And we found that in next 3 running, his average speed is 15 kilometers per hour, not 45. A lot of the difference. Can you believe him? If in the 3 running, next 3 running, his speed is coming, average speed is coming 15 kilometers per hour, do you believe him? Sir, you can answer. Unmute your phone. Microphone.
No, I can't believe him, doctor.
Yeah, sure, because his claim is 45 kilometer per hour, but we are saying that his average speed is 15 kilometer per hour. So you can't believe. So is the journey dishonest or unreliable? How to get confirmation? Like, what is hypothesis? Hypothesis is this: a claim he made about something, his running speed. This is the hypothesis. Now we have to test it. And either testing, doing after the test, either you're going to accept that one, okay, he is telling the truth. So that is a accept that hypothesis, or you can reject that hypothesis based upon the some samples, some sort of experiments, right? Now here we are not, we didn't apply any scientific method, but looking upon this difference, easily we can say that it is very tough to believe his statement. Okay. Now going further, let's say again going for the 3 more running. We are going to observe 3 more running of the journey. And during that 3 more running, his average speed comes out 40 kilometer per hour. Earlier, maybe due to some chances or due to his some physical compromise or something like that one, maybe he was not able to achieve the speed, average speed more than 15. But let's say, if his average speed is coming around 40 kilometer per hour, then we can get some confidence, okay, he can achieve 45 also. Isn't so? So, if his speed is near to the claimed speed, claimed average speed, more likely we say that, okay, 45 is his claim and his average speed in the 3 runs coming at 40. And that 45 is a long-term average. So maybe in these 3 runs, there may be some sort of the physical deficiency he has, or he has something mentally not prepared, psychological. There are a lot of problems happen. Variables are there that is going to affect the running speed. So in that case, we can have some confidence in, okay, maybe he's telling the truth. But the earlier case, in this case, we become more and more sure about this. Okay, he's telling a lie. His claim is not true. Isn't so? Now, the problems come. We have defined the 2 points. One is the 15 kilometer per hour. Here, we are not believing in. There is a lot of suspicion about his claim. But at 40 kilometer per hour, we are more likely to believe. So when a decision has to be made based upon the sample, what is the critical point? A point between 15 kilometer and 40 kilometer. Say that below that, if the sample average is coming, we will say that his claim is rejected. Above that, the claim should be accepted. What should be that critical point to make a decision to believe the journey or not, to know whether Johnny is telling the truth or he is telling the lie? Right? So let's say what should be your cutoff speed for Johnny? Let's say we are going to define the cutoff speed as the 25 kilometers per hour. Now question comes, how we arrive at this cutoff speed, critical value. If below that claim is rejected, above that claim is accepted. How do we come to the this okay, wait for 1 minute and just 1%. Okay, sorry for interruption. So, how to verify this claim based upon the sample average, and how to get this critical value? Now that depends upon our confidence level and other things. We'll discuss in detail later on. Okay. So, if the average speed is coming below the 25 kilometers per hour, if the claim is 25 kilometers per hour is the cutoff value and the sample outcome, that means sample running speed, average speed is coming below 25, we should reject the claim. We'll discuss in detail how to get this critical value, right? We'll discuss this one. There is some scientific concept about that one. You can't take any value. When you're going to plot all the speed, generally bigger samples follow the normal distribution. And this is the normal distribution, right? If you can say this is a bell shape, okay, like this one, extended from the minus infinity to the plus infinity, total area under this curve, bell shape curve, is assumed to be 1, right? Mean value, we set the mean value as the claim represented. What was the claim? His average long-term running speed is 45. So mean value is the 45, right? Here. And there is a more chance if some distribution is following the normal distribution. Some parameter is following a particular normal distribution. In that case, there is a probability, more probability of the following the speed around the mean. Here you can see the probability of frequency. More and more number of speed will come around the mean value, and very less chance of having the speed in this region or this side or this side, right? So we are going to define a critical point where the chances of happening of getting that speed is rare. Very less probability of getting that speed, value of that parameter. And if that is happening, we simply reject the claim or hypothesis, because here probability is very low to get a speed of this if claim is this. Okay, and if he's getting that average speed in the 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 runs, that means whatever claim or the hypothesis we have taken, that is not true. Because this is the region of the low probability. Are you getting my point? Are you able to understand this concept of the hypothesis testing? You can unmute your phone, your microphone. If there is any difficulty in this concept, this is a very basic concept. On which concept hypothesis testing works? If rarest things is happening, then we have to reject the claim. Here you can say this is the probability of the any value. Along the x-axis we have the values. Here we have the more probability. These values can occur very frequently. And in this region, occurrence would be very low, rare chances of the occurrence. And if that is occurring, that is happening, that means whatever claim made here may not be true. So we reject the claim, right? Any question till now?
No.
Understand the basics of the hypothesis testing, how we are going to test. We are going to find out where the extreme case or extreme value is happening or not, or a parameter is going to take the extreme value or not. This side is the extreme value for this case.
Hello, doctor.
Yes. Go ahead, ask your question.
That's good. We are already understood, but there is a little bit distraction of sound. Maybe it's unstable of network.
Maybe.
We cannot hear you clearly.
I'm trying to be clear. Okay. Maybe from your side there is so much variables in the communication. Something from my side, something from your side, something network. Okay, don't worry. If there should be any disturbance, etc., the recording should have the proper audio. Okay. So later on you can see the recording. Okay. So this is the basic concept. We are trying to find out whether the rarest or extreme thing is happening or not. If that is happening, that means claim should be rejected. And if that is not happening, claim should be accepted, or we fail to reject the claim. In other words, you can say accepted, right? So this is the basic idea about the hypothesis testing. Here I have taken the distribution as the normal distribution. There can be two types of the distribution for the hypothesis testing. One is the normal. If the sample size is 30 or plus 30 plus, that generally follow the normal distribution. If below that, we generally go for the T distribution. T distribution is also similar type of the normal distribution, but for the lower sample size, okay, we go for the T distribution. Here we are going to discuss all the concept. Concept is the similar. Testing you are going to do, that is a similar in nature, whether you have the normal or the T distribution. Okay. Only some statistics we use for the test may change, but some formula will be changed. In normal distribution, there should be some different formula. In the T distribution, there should be different formula. Okay. So once you can know how to conduct the hypothesis testing, you can apply anyone like that one. Okay. So now come to our theoretical background. So the general goal of hypothesis testing is to rule out chance, that anything is happening by chance. And there may be the possible explanation for the result from the research study. That means we are going to rule out any kind of the sampling error, etc. Hypothesis testing is a technique to help determine whether a specific treatment has an effect on the individual in a population. Right? Treatment means any kind of the measurement or any kind of the operation, whatever you are going to do. Right? So, generally, in the hypothesis testing, you need to evaluate a sample, how we are going to evaluate the result from a research study to test a hypothesis. First of all, you have to select a sample from the population, right? We have talked a lot about the sampling technique. So how to do the sampling, how to take the sample, you know that. You know the difference between the sample and population. If there should be some treatment is administered, let's say we want to find out the effectiveness or efficacy of the any vaccine, Covishield or Pfizer vaccine or anything for the corona. What they do? They take some people out of the population, give that particular vaccine, and then observe whether they are able to resist the infection due to coronavirus or not. And also they are going to do the detailed study of the different variant of the virus on which that should be effective or not. So after treatment, then visuals in the sample are measured, and on that basis they say that okay, this the efficacy of this particular drug or vaccine is the 94%, this is the 70%, this is 80%. How did they arrive at that value? They are not administering that particular vaccine to all the people. They are doing the trials on the some people only. And they have the hypothesis that okay, this vaccine is effective or able to make it immune from the corona infection. So that can be an example. Okay. If the individual in the sample are noticeably different from individuals in the original population, that means without treatment or without giving anything, let's say, okay, we'll take the same example. In population, we didn't administer the vaccination program, but we administered on some selected people as a sample. And if that selected people is more immune to the infection, let's say, we can say that okay, there is evidence that treatment has an effect that is saving the people from any kind of infection. But however, in some other cases, not in the most, that effect may be some sort of the sampling error. And as a researcher, we try to be factful, truthful, and we want to rule out any kind of the error, effect of the error or like that one. So we should go for some robust hypothesis testing that okay, this is working. You have to show that with the proof, right? So how to conduct hypothesis testing? You know that already we have discussed about the hypothesis, a promise or a claim or a smart guess we want to test. If this happened, then that. Or some is going to claim something. If you are very much aware about the law of gravitation, etc. Who has given the law of gravitation? Anyone? Anyone? Law of gravity. Which scientist has given this law to us?
Newton's law.
Hmm?
Newton's law.
Yeah, Newton's law. Newton made, there is a story about when he was sitting under a apple tree. One apple falls from top to his head. There is something, that kind of story we have. And he thought, why apple is falling downside only, not going upside? Whether that is a story is true or not, we don't know. But he come with a proposition that there is a something like gravity, and wherever there is a mass, there should be gravity. Okay, so that is a one hypothesis that was universally accepted. That claim or hypothesis or promise was universally accepted, and for the classical mechanics right now also we are fully agree with that law for the day-to-day activity, whatever that may be. But after the 2.5 centuries after that one, Einstein came. And he said that no, Newton, whatever saying, okay, that is okay. But that is not equally applicable in this universe system. Right? And he came with some sort of the explanation combining the gravity with the time and making the whole the space universe as a flat bed or a plane consists of the time and gravity. And wherever there is a mass, that is going to distort that particular plane or surface, and that becomes more specific to explain all the phenomena happening around us. So another claim comes from the Einstein, and based upon some observations, scientific experiments, that claim was accepted, superseding the Newton's claim, Newton's law. But that is much more applicable to our outer space or location, like that one, okay? Explaining the different phenomena happening in the universe. For the practical purposes, in our day-to-day life, Newton's law is still equally applicable. Right? So that way we can understand what is the different hypothesis or claim or promise or any smart guess made by the scientist is, and how to verify that. To verify that one, we should have some data, some samples that has to be tested. Okay. So a hypothesis is a promise or a claim or a smart guess, right? We want to test. Let's say if someone is going to claim that, okay, I am some kind of the Superman, I can fly. How do you going to test that one? First, do you want to believe him or not? Naturally, looking upon the samples around us, we see that no one is able to fly. So based upon that, you can simply reject that claim. But maybe someone has some extraordinary capabilities, power. So applying a scientific method to test that one, let's ask him to show his flying capabilities. If he can fly by himself, you can say that, okay, his claim is, we take some samples, whether he is able to fly or not. To make a claim, you can claim anything, no problem. You can claim anything, anyone can claim anything. Making claim is not a big issue. But having some honesty, truthfulness in that claim is going to make the impact on the society. Some contribution to the society, some new knowledge you are providing to society. Right? So it's become very important to test any hypothesis before accepting that one or rejecting that one. Both ways. We just cannot, on basis of our intuition, our opinion, we can reject or accept anything. There should be some basis, scientific basis, some facts, some figures. On basis of that, we are going to accept or reject any kind of the claim or relationship or the guess, whatever that means. So in the hypothesis testing, when we are going to write the hypothesis, we have one, that claim or relationship or whatever that is defined, that is known as the null hypothesis or currently accepted value for a given parameter, or what currently believed to be. Right? So that is known as the null hypothesis and represented by HO. 0. Okay. And there should be an alternate hypothesis. What is not covered comes under the null hypothesis. All should belong to the alternate hypothesis. Combining these two, that will cover all the decisions. Right? These two are mutually exclusive. No overlapping anywhere. Let's try to explain it with one example. Let's say we are talking about an automatic pencil making machine. When you go to the market and you see pencils in some packets or they are selling, they are supposed to be of the equal size. They are generally of the equal size, lengthwise, and also diameter, width, whatever that may be. Pencils come in the different types, different lengths, different grades. H grade, HB grade, right? So we are talking about the one type of the pencil, and we are taking the one parameter out of that one, that is the length of that pencil. As usual, some maintenance work happened there, and after that, when machine again started producing the pencils, a worker claims that machine after maintenance no longer produce the pencil of 15 centimeters. Or average length of the pencils are not 15 centimeters. That may be greater, may be less. Right? So for that, we have to test that claim. or a statement or guess of that worker, whether he's telling the truth or not, we have to do some sort of the hypothesis testing, right? And the first step of any hypothesis testing is to write the hypothesis. This is a very important one. Okay. So we try to learn about how to write the hypothesis. Okay. Now in this session, we have less than 2 minutes. Please join after expiry of this session. We want to continue to write class. Okay. So for timing, if you have any question, you can ask anything you want to discuss. Whatever we discussed till now. If any question coming to your mind, right, you can ask. And remember that we are going to continue this class. Once this class gets disconnected, that should be automatic by Zoom. That is giving only 40 minutes. I am going to start a new meeting with the same ID and password. You can join it. Okay. After a gap of the 1 or 2 minutes. Okay. So we have less than the 1 minute. Any questions, anything you want to discuss, we can discuss right now. Yeah. No questions. So please join after this class is going to expire. Please join again. Okay. Okay.